It's time for your child to complete the free application for Federal Student Aid, or FAFSA. The FAFSA is the student's application. But if your child is considered dependent, you will have to provide some information and sign it as well. If you aren't sure if your child is considered a dependent student for the FAFSA, go to studentaid.gov/dependency to learn more. Before starting the FAFSA, get an FSA ID. Your child will need an FSA ID to sign the FAFSA electronically and to make any corrections later. An FSA ID is a username and password that is used to log on to certain U.S. Department of Education websites. If your child is providing parental information on the FAFSA, you will need to sign the FAFSA too. If you have a Social Security number, you can get your own FSA ID to sign the FAFSA online. Before starting the FAFSA, you and your child should go to studentaid.gov/FSA ID to create your own FSA ID. There's a lot of helpful information about creating and using your FSA ID on that website. It's very important that you and your child each create your own FSA ID to prevent problems or delays with your child's financial aid. Starting a FAFSA, the login page. To start a new application, go to FAFSA.gov and click the Start a New FAFSA button. If your child is starting the application, he or she can enter his or her FSA ID on the left side of the login page. If you are starting your child's FAFSA, then select Enter the student's information on the right to begin. Don't enter your child's FSA ID or your FSA ID on this page. Follow the instructions on the screen to proceed. Starting a FAFSA, making a save key. Next, you will be asked to create a save key. The save key is a temporary password that lets you save the FAFSA. Then, you can return to the application later to complete it or share the FAFSA with someone else. The save key lets you and your child work on a FAFSA together, even if you aren't in the same location. One of you can start a FAFSA, click the Save button at the bottom of the page, and then exit. Then the other person can log in at FAFSA.gov using the student's identifiers and the save key and pick up where the other person left off. Once you create your save key, make a note of it. Unlike the FSA ID, the save key is meant to be shared between you and your child. Now you can begin completing the FAFSA. Help is available for every question. Look for the Help and Hints box on the right side of the screen. Signing the FAFSA. After you and your child have filled out the FAFSA, you will both need to sign it. If you are in the same location, you can each enter your own username and password on the Sign and Submit page. The student signature is on top, and the parent signature is below. Make sure you each put your information in the correct spot. If you and your child are not together, one of you can sign the application by entering your username and password and clicking the Sign button. Then save and close the application. The other can then log in at FAFSA.gov using the save key and sign the application. Each person should enter his or her own username and password in the correct spot, student above and parent below. If you are a parent without a Social Security number, you will not be able to get an FSA ID and will not be able to sign the FAFSA electronically. Instead, your child will submit the FAFSA without a parent signature and then print a paper signature page for you to sign and return by mail. Follow the instructions on the screen. Submitting the FAFSA. Once you and your child have signed the FAFSA using your own FSA IDs, submit it by clicking the blue Submit My FAFSA Now button at the bottom of the page. Your child's FAFSA is not submitted until you see the confirmation page. You may want to print the confirmation page for your records. Your child will receive a copy of the confirmation page by email if he or she provided an email address. Congratulations! Your child's FAFSA is submitted. Now it will take 3 to 5 days to process, and then it will be made available to the financial aid offices of the schools listed on the FAFSA. They will use the information to determine what aid your child may be eligible to receive. If you have other children applying for financial aid this year, there's a time-saving link on the confirmation page. At the top of the page, it will say Optional Feature, Transfer your parents' information into another FAFSA. Click here and you can start a new FAFSA for another child, and much of your information will be carried over into the new FAFSA. If you have questions or need more information, please visit studentaid.gov/FAFSA.